Oh man, you don't even know. We're gonna do an analysis of one of these paragraphs. I put that shit in the notes. You don't even know what we're gonna have a time today.
We are. I wanted to say, as in the opening, like parts of this. Even so, they cooked. This is that is. And we are about to. We are about to. Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Pot of the Seven Kingdoms, a journey through the Dunk and Egg novellas. I am Baki Balboa.
I am Belok, and we are continuing our read of the Dunk and Egg novellas. This is the second section for us in the second novella, technically. So we're picking up halfway down the page. If you have I don't know if there is a hardcover, but we have the softcover. Picking up page 132 and reading through the middle of page 143, where there's that break that says, "And don't go eating anything that Maester won't." And man, what a banger section this is.
Yeah. I mean, George just really is like, do you like symbolism? Because I put symbolism in your symbolism.
He did. He said, what if there was like a one of those eggs that like you open it? Oh, what's inside? More symbolism. Hey, would you like a theme? Hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Whatever the Matryoshka dolls or
Russian I don't know how to say that word.
Russian nesting dolls, but egg.
Oh my God. God damn it, George. He did it again.
I've been here the whole time. Like that's
I texted you earlier. I was like, wow, what a banger section. And you're like, George is a menace. And
Absolute
I completely agree. And I do want to be clear because we do also use menace to refer to the creators of the bad show, and also occasionally Ryan Condal, depending on how he is behaving. They are menaces in the bad way.
Right.
George is a menace in that he's terrorizing my life, but I like it. I want to be terrorized, you know?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
It's an insidious approach to enlightened writing.
Yes. Oh man, you don't even know. We're gonna do an analysis of one of these paragraphs. I put that shit in the notes. You don't even know what we're gonna have a time today.
We are. I wanted to say, as in the opening, like parts of this. Even so, they cooked. This is that is. And we are about to. We are about to.
Damn it, George! How did you know?
Even so. They cooked. That is this podcast. That's definitely the name of the podcast.
Even so, they cooked. Yes.
Even so, they cooked.
Done. Peek behind the curtain for all of you. That's how this episode titles come to be.
Well, I did want to say, I mean, obviously, in recording this podcast and giving people, the brief, the look behind the curtain, as you say, it has been a little bit since we've actually spoken. So how have you been since we actually talked last?
I've been fighting for my life in TikTok comment sections about the Taylor Swift album.
Oh, that is an area of the internet that I am happy to not be engaging with.
My God, it is a time. Now I know your small child has become a fan of Taylor Swift, is my understanding. Yes,
she has. Yeah, it's it happened outside of like my sphere of influence. It's the first time my child came home and like something that I didn't know was on the table, and she's become like a fan in the she does genuinely enjoy listening to Taylor Swift's music. So
yeah, my niece is about the same age as your daughter, and she's the same way. Though I think I told you my niece watched the Fate of Ophelia music video in which Taylor Swift is dressed up in feathers because she's a showgirl, obviously. And my niece is like, why is she always an animal? And I'm like, what, honey? And she's like, she's a chicken. And in this movie, she's a pig, because in the movie Sing, the animal that sings Taylor Swift songs is a pig.
That's right.
And so she's like, she's always an animal. She's like, I like it, but she's always an animal. I'm like, you got her, man. You clocked her right there. Done. That's the only analysis I need. But the I will go on the record as saying I loved the album immediately. Everyone who didn't was wrong. My opinions are the only right opinions, and if you have different opinions, you're wrong about them. But I mean, the most of the critique was, regular. I've been a Taylor Swift fan since debut. Do not speak the old magics to me. I was there when it was written, kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I remember teardrops on my guitar. Like, I was there. I was also the target audience for this. So, capitalism, it got me. It did. But the one critique that I have been fighting people on, are you aware of the album Folklore? I think Folklore really rotted the brains of a lot of people because it was very different from other things Taylor Swift had done up until that point.
Sure.
And because it was like a tick or two more poetic than some of her previous writing, though I would say a lot of it's similar to lyricism elsewhere. You just didn't notice because it had a pop beat to it. People are constantly comparing albums to Folklore, and they're like, where's the lyricism from Folklore? Where's the beautiful whatever from Folklore? And I'm like, Folklore was fine, but Folklore is definitely for it's like baby's first poetry. The person who's dying for Folklore is in their first semester of their English degree as a freshman and has just discovered what a slant rhyme is. These are not the person who loves Folklore thinks that The Road Less Traveled is genuinely about the fact that if you make a choice, it changes your destiny. They don't understand meta commentary or subtext or it's really genuinely baby's first poetry. And people will hate me for saying that, but it's true.
They're just finding out about Walt Whitman.
They've just learned about Walt Whitman. They have yet to crack open Ulysses. We're not there. We're not at Portrait.
No, far from it, in fact.
Far from it. And it's okay. We've all been there. We've all been in that circumstance.
We all need
to pass through it. We have to get through it to get to the good stuff. But the Folklore Swifties are arguing adamantly on the internet that her lyricism in Folklore is better than her lyricism on Showgirl, to which I have but one critique, which is that I will accept no critique from the Folklore Swifties when the primary lyric, the main lyric on the lead single from the album Folklore was and remains, and when I felt like an old cardigan under someone's bed, you put me on and said I was your favorite. A lyric which I think Taylor Swift should at least spend some time in jail for writing. I couldn't understand it at the time. I still don't. And don't come at me and tell me that you don't like the shit in Opal Light or any of these other songs when your lead single, she desperately tried to rhyme the words cardigan with favorite. And I will hear no critique. No critique from these people. Anyway, thank you for coming to our Taylor Swift discussion.
Should we talk about the Sworn Sword?
Sure.
So this section of the Sworn Sword, you said as we were saying, we're going from page 132, middle of page 132, on the way home, and this section, well, it begins with a few things. But
first they cooked.
Exactly. Even so, they cooked. It's I don't know, and yet I persist. That's what they're even so they cooked. That's it. But no, it's emphasizing the drought even further. There's this. We talked in the first section about how this drought is. George is really hammering home. No, it's a real drought. And I think it's early on where Dunk grabs a leaf and and it crunches, which is such a very evocative sort of
it's so dramatic dry. Of him. Imagine this dramatic teenager just picking a leaf and it crunches and he's like, oh, the desert, it is so dry here,
At least the nights in Dorne were cool, which he does actually have that thought. And I actually, this was one thing where I was like, oh, I've been in a desert before. I feel this.
Oh, okay.
Where now he's in Georgia, and it's hot, even though it's dark out. And he's like, this is bullshit because it's humid.
Yeah.
And humidity is ultimately bullshit. I don't agree with it. But
You don't. Do you believe in humidity? You just don't agree
I
with it?
believe in it. I just don't like it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I wish I didn't have to. But we get more Bennis stuff. And last episode we talked about the fact that like Bennis is sort of a complicated character because he's this jaded hedge knight who has some sort of like realistic views about being a hedge knight, where it's like, hey, these lords, they don't give a shit. Like, they don't care about you, man. Get your bag and just like go on to the next one or whatever. And we start to get like more of a view into Bennis where it's like, oh no, he's not just jaded. Like, this is a cruel man who there might be a through line even to like characters we've met before in this story, not this story, but in the Hedge Knight, of cruelty to a specific character in this story, indicating badness. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think that one of the fascinating things about Bennis is just how well characterized, and I think this section especially, we'll talk about characterization, but like how well characterized he is, being on page relatively little. You know, and even just down to things like Dunk's like, this guy stinks, like literally physically smells. Like, I would like him to take a bath. You know, here's our beautiful Dunk the Lunk crunching his leaves dramatically, you know, thinking about his time in Dorne. And he's just like with this smelly dude who like has the same job as him. And
is not like he's not like a very clean guy. Like Dunk is I got in the river to get clean, right? Like that's he's not like a perfumed Hedge Knight, right? Like he's not like, oh, this poor guy stinks or whatever. It's like he also probably has like a distinct sort of but
like even at like Dunk's level, even Dunk is like, this guy's smelly.
Yeah,
like you know this guy's got to smell then. So the two of them are heading back. This is after they had discovered the river was damned, and they had to go back, and they have to tell Dad that the river's damned. And they're basically talking about, you know, telling the Lord, and there's this stuff with flies. I didn't quite know what to make of this exactly. Did you have thoughts about the flies?
No, it was interesting because it's like they buzzed about Dunk's face as he rode and crept round Thunder's eyes. So people will remember that Thunder is the war horse, and he is riding Thunder now because there are other horses he sold and one passed, I think, in their journeys or whatever. So he's on their war horse, and there's flies all around. I think it just has to do with the sort of state of everything where George has been hinting at a lot of stuff, and in this section, like without getting too far ahead of ourselves, there's a lot of death.
Well, I was thinking about it because in the very beginning of this novella is the flies around the corpses in the gibbet cages. So I'm like, I don't know that I have enough information to make anything of it yet, but Martin puts in these patterns for a reason. They're not like he, especially in these novellas, he's so selective with his language because he has so few words to work with. Similarly, in the same section with the flies, we get the description at the top of page 133. Bennis grinned a wet red grin. So the implication is, I forget if they actually say sour leaf here in the text, but we know people in this universe choose sour leaf, and sour leaf gives everybody like a kind of like a red smile, basically. And we could talk more about this, but we should track red smiles, things like that, because what other thing in this text has a red smile or red mouth that is significant? The weirwood trees, which are magic. So all of this, like anytime there's like a red smile, it has so many potential layers of meaning, like calling back to the weirwood trees, also calling back to our own like modern understanding of what a red smile is, being like cutting someone's face or slitting someone's throat. Either one of those. And throat slits also have a relation in the larger text to the weirwoods. So it's sort of interesting that he's, you know, chewing sour leaf and has that
Yeah.
that image. And also the image of just like this dirty, stinky guy with like a
Right.
gross mouth,
Mhm.
like smiling. Ugh. So
And
creepy.
it's during this time that they have another conversation, Dunk and Bennis, where last time we talked, similar to what I described earlier, where Bennis is basically saying like, hey, these guys don't care about you, like you
Mhm.
shouldn't be looking out for them. But there's a really interesting thing about this whole part where Bennis is essentially saying like, hey, you're dumb because
Yeah.
we should have just lied about what happened. We should have just said that it dried up because of the drought. Who
Mhm.
cares? Like, who cares?
Right.
Um, and Dunk says a sworn sword owes his lord the truth.
Mhm.
And Bennis says there's truths and truths, Lunk. Some don't serve.
Mm.
The gods make droughts. A man can't do a bloody buggering thing about the gods. So
Mhm.
he's saying like we could have just blamed this on the weather and
Yeah.
then he wouldn't care. But if we blame it on Lady Rohan Weber, it's going to
Mhm.
be an issue.
Yeah. And he's right. You know what that's very similar to? The line there's truth and truth's lunk, some don't serve. It's similar to in a Game of Thrones, the first book, when Ned tells Arya that some lies are not without honor.
Mhm.
And that I forget which lie it was exactly. If Arya had lied about something, I think Arya had lied to save Nymeria's life. Like she said,
Yeah.
the wolf ran off or something, that they couldn't find
Yeah.
her, but they had really chased her up, something along those lines.
Mhm.
Um, Martin definitely plays with this concept of, you know, you have this concept in chivalry of like Dunk says,
Never telling a lie.
don't tell a lie. But then what happens when you tell the truth and it causes violence and harm, which is something we're going to start seeing here because they're going to tell Sir Eustace and he's going to say, call the soldiers. Now we got to start shit.
Yeah. But the part of this that I really love from Dunk, and this is back to, woke Dunk
Yeah.
of basically Bennett says like, well, if we tell him that it's the Webbers who did this, then Eustace Osgrey will feel like he has to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And Dunk says he should. Our small folk need that water for their crops. And
Mm-hmm.
Bennis is like, our small folk?
Yeah.
Like, when did
Yes.
Eustace tell you that you're the heir or whatever?
Yeah.
But this does go to something maybe a layer deeper, where what Dunk is advocating for is not violence for the sake of violence or some sort of intervention, like because he wants any sort of glory or wants to
Mm-hmm.
like win anything, but is specifically because he knows that people like him are suffering
Yep. Mm-hmm.
because of this and he wants to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where like there is like a purity around Dunk's intentions, that even though he's not the smartest guy, class consciousness is something he definitely has.
He's getting there. He's coming there because it's interesting because he says our small folk. So he doesn't say the other small folk.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not quite lumping himself in with them. He's kind
Right.
of putting himself in like a protector position, which is like a hedge knight would be, like class wise.
It's like, I
But he's
have the
still
ability to protect
right. But he
these people.
still has, that is his origin, and his closeness, his recent proximity to being in that position makes it possible for him to think that. Whereas someone like Bennis, who's much older and is more removed from assumedly having, I'm assuming he was some kind of small folk before, not like a lord's son or anything like, along, as far as we know. Uh, Bennis is farther removed from that experience and is just sort of like, like we said before, he's just jaded and he doesn't want to get involved. But Dunk is like, no, we got to do something here. And this is why we love him, because he is coming into his own class consciousness and we love to see it.
Um the there's this reference to like Dunk starts thinking about the fact that Bennis knew Arlen, and this is like a thing that goes back, and he basically has the thought that like just because this guy rode with Arlen in the past doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
He sucks now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
he's grown mean and false and craven.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it's interesting to see Dunk like maybe take that harsh of a stance about someone who in theory does sort of outrank him. Like not in the sense that they are in different social standings, because we've seen Dunk obviously defer to nobles a lot because he knows that he doesn't really have like the weight to throw around like true nobles. But unless he, defeats the son of a certain Targaryen prince, like in a Trial of Seven. Yeah. So he uses it once, but him sort of deciding, no, this guy is bad, is new for Dunk.
Yeah, it is. You know what? That reminds me of so many things reminding me of the series proper. And I haven't reread the five main books in a few years, so help me out, because I know you read them more frequently. In the 5th book, when Sansa's getting engaged to some guy, and there's a guy
Harry the Heir.
Yeah, is it Harry that's an asshole to her? There's somebody who's kind of an asshole to her, and she finally thinks in the 5th book, like, she doesn't blame herself. She's like, no, he's an asshole. Like, she kind of like, as opposed to earlier Sansa, who, like with Joffrey, Sansa always blamed herself for his behavior. But I forget which man it's with, but she eventually comes to be like, wait, it's not me. He's an asshole.
Maybe there is gosh, what's the I'm trying to remember there's the bard's name at the Eyrie who tries to sleep with her, who
the blue bard. It might also be a Winds of Winter chapter that I'm thinking of.
Oh, possibly.
But that's why I don't remember exactly. But this kind of growth of like, and what's interesting about this kind of growth of watching a character who used to kind of take everyone's shit, like at least internally realizing that the person is full of shit, is really interesting to see on page, because I think it's very reflective of like real thought processes. Like as you get older and you mature and you realize like, oh, like, it's not me. This person's just an asshole. Like, that's huge. Like, being able to like really reflect and analyze someone else's behavior and be like, what a dick, And for Dunk to be able to be like, this is another knight, but not the kind of knight I am. He's mean and craven. Like, he's nothing like Sir Arlen. He's nothing like me.
Exactly. I do love that, like, Bennis is giving him a bunch of shit and it's gonna like go make knights of the small folk, and you're gonna have to count with your hands and toes and the bald-headed boys, blah blah blah. And Dunk is just like, I don't need toes to count.
And I'm like, is that true, Dunk?
It might not be, but I do love the idea of Dunk just being like that terse with somewhat, like, because he's been so deferential like throughout this, so him just being like, I don't need toes to count, and then just trotting off like and being like, fuck you, essentially is I just like to see this for Doug. Like you said, it's a bit of growth, a bit of development. And they get to Standfast, which is the castle of House Osgrey and Sir Eustace in particular. And this is where we get Bennis being a dick specifically to Egg.
Yes. So first we get Standfast, which is like totally falling down and like totally decrepit. Which, like, that makes sense.
And nothing to see here in terms of like, this was to me like as close as George has gotten to like Fall of the House of Usher type like Poe imagery of like, do you get it? The house is like falling down. You get it? The castle, like
the castle crumbling.
Yeah, the castle is crumbling, and also this house is like beaten down and completely like all his sons are dead. Like it's just hey, hello, hello.
Do you get it? Do you? I would have a theme for you for your 8th grade book report. Would you like it? Would you like the theme? This is listening to a Sabrina Carpenter song going, is this about sex? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Oh, whoa, hey.
Hold on.
I thought this was
I'm
this was a nice song.
detecting some
Double
I
meanings
may need
here.
to
Hold
listen to
on.
this again, but
So yeah, so Standfast is falling apart. Who could have thought? And they pull up with their horsies, and Egg is there. Dunk's like, here, take the horsey. And then Bennis is like, also take my horse. And Egg is, a squire, so he should, but he's also a Targaryen prince, though nobody knows that.
right.
So he's like, no, fuck you. I'm not taking your horse. I'm not your squire. And Dunk thinks to himself, that tug of his will get him hurt one day, which I imagine translates to Jesus fucking Christ, take his horse.
Mhm.
And so he makes him take the horse. And then Bennis spits on him. Ew.
This was the moment where I was like, oh, like George is really trying to hit us over the head with like, this guy sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I think we had obviously sort of in the Hedge Knight, like we talked about the characterization of Aerion,
Mhm.
where Aerion he's a dick to Dunk of like, take my horse.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh,
like,
this
are you
is
a stable
parallel
boy? Like,
that.
are you a stable boy?
Yeah.
You should take my horse. And
Mhm.
then when he says he's not a stable boy, he says, oh, not clever enough, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Treats Dunk like shit and then kills an animal. Like, those
Yeah.
are his two first appearances in the book. And then we later find out that he literally like abuses Egg, his
Mhm.
brother,
Yeah.
like not in the story, but
Mhm.
prior to,
Right.
as a further characterization. So then we get Bennis, who
Mhm.
is an asshole to Dunk, like kind of tries to denigrate all of the stuff that Dunk is trying to do, and then
Mhm.
goes out of his way to be a dick to Egg, specifically in the taking my horse.
Yeah.
Like,
And attacks the guy. Attacks one of the
yeah, and
small
attacks
folk.
a poor person,
Yeah.
which is like where Dunk is like, you shouldn't have done that. Oh, that
Right.
was the other thing that I did want to just explicitly say is Dunk saying you shouldn't have done that
Mhm.
is another step for Dunk.
Oh, absolutely.
Like him
Actually
saying to another
speaking it,
knight,
yeah.
you shouldn't have done that, is because
Mhm.
the easier thing to do is nothing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
be like, this guy's an asshole, I'm just gonna keep it quiet, who cares? And so him
Mhm.
just saying and like initiating that conversation of you should not have hurt that guy,
Mhm.
this is growth.
Yeah. I know. We love to see it. I love to see my boy Dunk growing, learning, maturing.
But the
It was great.
Bennis characterization, particularly with spitting on Egg, feels like really pointed.
Yes, and it has a couple of things going on because um Sir Bennis hawked and spat. A glob of glistening red phlegm struck the boy between the toes. He gave the knight an icy look. You spit on my foot, sir. So first of all, gross, disgusting. But because, like we were talking about before, Bennis was chewing sour leaf, um, the the saliva is red, and it's a glob. God, it's just disgusting. Um, which kind of made me think like we've like got like red smile, red saliva. He's spitting up red. So it's kind of like spitting up blood.
Mhm.
And now I have not read this text, so I do not know if this character survives this text, but this would be fantastic foreshadowing for his death. If not generically foreshadowing for death, because coughing up blood, spitting up blood is like when when you're dying in some fashion.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's gross. But that maybe it's symbolic. Thanks, George.
Yep.
Uh,
The
and then he says
sorry.
next time. So no, I was gonna say like in terms of being mean to Egg, Egg's like, "You spit on me." I think Egg is almost trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's like maybe he missed and meant to spit on the ground. And Bennis is like, "Next time I'll spit in your face." Ugh.
I do like the idea of Egg is secretly thinking like, and then I'll cut your fucking head off.
Well,
Like it's the one time where I'm like, the royal should pull rank actually
yeah.
here. It is in our best interest.
Well, Bennett says, next time I'll spit in your face, I'll have none of your bloody tongue. And so actually speaking to a prince like that would result in Bennis having a bloody
His
tongue.
tongue out, yeah.
His tongue would be out. Yeah. So it's like an interesting wordplay there.
Yeah.
And like I said before, because of like the limited number of words available for Martin, and because of how
Mhm.
much he has demonstrated to us that he does think about everything all the time, every word, everywhere, all at once.
Mhm.
I do think these are meant to have these sort of double layer of
Yeah.
meaning going on. But Egg
So
does take the horses.
he does. And then they're going up because they are trying to report to Sir Eustace. I did want to just mention before we get to Eustace that one of the things that is funny to me about this is that they run into Sam Stoops' wife who tells them where Eustace is because they ask whether he's up or down. Dunk previously in the last section thought about Sam Stoops' description of Rohan Weber, the Red Widow, who we've not been introduced to still as, a sorceress, enchantress, widower, like all the whatever. So we meet Sam Stoops' wife. Sam Stoops is haunting the narrative at this moment. We do not know who this is. He's been off page this whole time and he's just haunting the narrative. We're like, this man is the Rhaegar Targaryen of the Sworn Sword. He's
Sam
everywhere.
Rhaegar Targaryen's corollary, yes.
He's everywhere, but he's not on page.
Sam Stoop is the ghost of Standfast over here.
Stoop Kid. I don't know if there are any Hey Arnold fans out there.
Yes, Stoop Kid's afraid to leave it. Oh my God, what if he's on the stoop?
Stoop Kid's afraid to leave his stoop. Stoop Kid is afraid to leave Standfast.
Sam Stoop's afraid to leave Standfast.
Yeah.
We say that 5 times fast.
There's something there.
Oh man, we got to work on that theory. Okay, got it.
And I joke because we're about to be introduced to Eustace Osgrey, who is a horribly tragic character, surrounded by loss,
surrounded by
drowning
themes,
in grief.
Drowning in metaphor. I mean, just symbols everywhere. He's tripping over symbols and his blackberry brambles. He's just all over the place, this man.
Oh man.
I want to meet George R. R. Martin someday and just shake his hand and just say that page 136. That was great. That one. That was a good time.
We get the intro to Eustace before we actually meet him in that Sam Stoops' wife says that he had just come back from visiting the boys down in the Blackberries.
Yeah.
And what we are it is explained on page, the boys were Eustace Osgrey's sons, Edwin, Harold, Adam. Edwin and Harold had been knights. Adam, a young squire. They had died on the red grass field 15 years ago at the end of the Blackfire Rebellion. So this is again like for the next sort of Blackfire or the expansion of the Blackfire lore dumps in that this is something that we don't know anything about like prior to reading this. And the red grass field is being set up obviously is quite significant. We now know several Osgrey family members who died on that field, and they are buried amongst the blackberries of Standfast.
Yep. Oh, we'll come back to this too because this is themes. This is so many themes, but it's truly heartbreaking. What's interesting about burying, I'm trying to figure out if there's meaning to this. But have you ever like encountered a blackberry bramble, like where blackberries grow? Yeah, they're dangerous. They have huge thorns. Yeah, they're very dangerous and they're very invasive blackberry species. So like you plant one and you can never get rid of it. And there's got to be something. I haven't figured it out yet. Listeners, if you have ideas, you put that in the comments because I haven't quite gotten there. What do you think? Do you have an idea?
Is it a black fire thing of like specifically blackberries and sort of this idea that they, despite the fact that they've been trimmed back and
they'll just keep coming back
and all this stuff, that they still are there and you can still get tangled up, and maybe down the line a fake Targaryen will come along and be.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that because they're specifically being blackberries. I was like, as opposed to some kind of red berry, there are plenty of red berries
Sure.
they could have been buried amongst. I mean, there's so many berry types. I mean, that could be because it's like they're like, no, you can't get rid of blackberry brambles, and when they grow and like are let to grow, I don't. The thorns on those things are huge. They're crazy. I
Yeah.
had a blackberry bramble in my backyard growing up. They're massive and very dangerous. And yeah, I like that. They're like invasive. You like can't quite get rid of them. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Oh, okay. Okay. I like it. It's a metaphor.
Even so,
I see it,
even
George.
so, they cooked.
We gotta make a shirt that says that. That's great.
the first bit of Pot of the Seven Kingdoms merch is just even so they cooked, then the Blackfire sigil on the back.
Yeah. No, just blackberries on the back of the shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
We see you, George.
I do think that there is other, because I mean, blackberries feels like, and it's one of those things that like when you're reading it for the first time, you'd be forgiven for just not thinking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's the black dragon, blackberries, this sort of pervasive, like you said, like a plant that it's really hard to eradicate. Even if you can control it, you can trim it back, you can cut it, you can whatever, like there's many ways to deal with it, but it doesn't go away.
And the fact that his family is buried there, right? Like they died on the red grass field, right? So they're physically buried amongst the blackberries. If we're treating the blackberries as symbolic of the Blackfire Rebellion generally, like they're buried beneath the Blackfire Rebellion, which I could. Ooh, I like
and
this.
Like in a very literal sense, sort of fertilizing the plant, where the people who died in the Blackfire Rebellion are feeding like further.
Well, they're keeping the monarchy alive.
Yeah, well, and like this idea that like when you like if you kill a resistance fighter, you create more. Type deal where like they're literally like the people who died in the Blackfire Rebellion are remembered by the people who live and still support the Black Dragon. So are they literally like the bodies of those who died are fertilizing this idea like even further because they are enriching sort of the roots of rebellion and I don't know.
Ooh,
maybe
I like that.
It could be nothing or it could be something.
Or even so they cooked, I don't know.
Even so they cooked. Even so, George definitely.
George cooking. George is cooking.
So then we meet Sir Eustace in amongst the mildewed gray-green banners of captured heraldry and all this sort of stuff. And the specific descriptions of Eustace Osgrey are very pointed. And very like meeting this man on page, it's clear that there again, George is very specific in the language that he uses and describing Eustace and the way that Dunk thinks about Eustace Osgrey is very informative.
Yeah,
it feels like.
Yeah. Well, before we get Eustace's actual description, we get Eustace does the thing that like all old people do that have a hyperfixation, because Dunk and Bennis walk into the room and Eustace is looking at this really cool section of a shield that he found in a drawer. And they're like, hey, we have important news about the plot. And he's like, whoa, hold on. I gotta give you some fucking lore right now.
Hold on. Have you guys ever heard of the Gardeners and how the Osgreys played a part in the war between the Lannisters and the Gardeners?
He's like, do you know that when he kicked that helmet on screen, he broke his toe in real life and that scream was real? Let me tell you more. Hold on. Let me get my copy of the Silmarillion out. Hold on. Like, that's what he's doing.
That's funny. Yeah, he does spend a lot of time talking about
talking about
I do find it funny that he calls Dunk my good giant, which
so sweet. So sweet.
But yeah, they're like, he's like, come have a look at this. I found it, and now I'm gonna tell you all about it because I have ADHD.
Exactly. He said, we don't have Ritalin in this universe, so come here. My mom didn't even take Tylenol when she was pregnant with me, and I'm still going to tell you all about this shield.
The story too, I was trying to parse out in this story. He's telling, he tells the story of this character called the Little Lion who was in like a old member of the house who served the gardeners back when they were kings of the Reach, and there were the Seven Kingdoms were actually ruled by seven kings and all that sort of stuff. But he tells this story about how the gardeners had led the armies off to fight the Storm King in the east, which meant that the Lannisters in the west felt like they had an opening to attack the Reach. They attack the Reach. They basically get held by this Wilbert Osgrey in this sort of heroic battle against Lancel like King Lancel Lannister.
Because we have only 3 names we could use in the Lannister family. And we rolled the dice, and today it was Lancel. So this is the
Lancel. And he dies. Like Wilbert Osgrey dies, but kills the king, like the Lannister king, in the process. And it was against Valyrian steel and all that sort of stuff. So like this lion stood against impossible odds. And I should be clear, the Osgrey lion, not the Lannister lion. So the Osgrey lion stands against the Lannisters, and there was just no there's no way that he should have won, and he didn't. He died. He was cut near in half, I guess is what they say. But he grievously wounds the other king, and they retreat as a result. So it's like we were central to this past war. Like we were once glorious, right? And I think like it does just like this whole story does feel like it's meant to hammer home sort of the fallen star that is like House Osgrey, and like double down on this idea of decline of like past glories and current, like there's nothing going on now. He's got no sons. There's no glories to win. They're talking about, I mean, his neighboring lord is damming his river without his permission. Like he's got nothing going for him, and he's like, we used to be something. And Bennis, as he tells this story, Bennis chimes in and is like, we could use somebody like him. Which feels kind of crazy. Like,
hey, do you get it? Like, do you get it?
It's not me, right? Like, where it's like, we could use somebody like him. And the idea that there is somebody there that fits the bill and is willing to stand up and is willing to like fight that fight. It's Dunk.
Right. It's almost like it's the main character of the story.
If only there was a guy like that. I sure as shit don't know anybody like that. So
Bennis does not realize he's with the main character of the novella. He's so totally missing that completely.
We've almost swapped where now Dunk is decidedly the main character, where Dunk was bursting into the main story, the main plot,
right,
in the last novella. In this novella, the other characters don't realize that they are with the main character.
Oh, it's fantastic. I also love that so Eustace goes on this like beautiful multi-paragraph 2 pages, like all these like pictures of like what he's imagining this fight was like, all about this glory. And Bennis is like, aye, my lord, we could use a man like that. Dunk and me had a look at your stream, dry as a bone, not from the drought. Just like completely nothing. No, show me your cool collectible shield. How much was that amiibo? Nothing about it. Just like right on, like, okay, Grandpa, cool. Let's talk about the main plot. You got distracted.
This was also interesting because so Bennis spends the time saying, Dunk, like, I don't know why you did all that. We could just lie. But then he's the one who's like, yep, cool story. Also, here's exactly what happened with the dam. And he's the one who tells the truth, which, like,
maybe he was just trying to beat Dunk to it.
To me, I don't know. There is something of like, he's the one telling the story, and he's the one, he's like, hey, the old man is going to want to go to war, and the old man is going to want to do X, Y, and Z, whatever. And this is going to be bad. Like, and you did this, but then he does it.
Well, I think Bennis is also like a lot of talk, which is sort of shown in the next section. But just before we get on to more Bennis, I just want to talk a little bit more about this shield.
Yes.
What is the likelihood that this is in fact the shield from?
I mean,
before Aegon's conquest, right? Yeah, okay.
like probably like, yeah. 2%.
I want to be like, did you get this on what, eBay, Facebook Marketplace? Like, what? Who told you it was legit?
And Etsy,
like,
Woods Witch sent.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And Etsy Woods Witch was like, this is definitely real. Would you like some moon tea too, just in case?
Exactly. It comes with free moon tea.
Yeah, if you spend 25 shillings or more, you get a free moon tea. So I thought that was funny that he's like finding any excuse to like want to talk about this kind of stuff. Also, like George R. R. Martin loves his small guy versus the world who doesn't quite win stories, because this is just the Mountain and the Viper.
Interesting.
This is just older, the Mountain and the Viper, but it's the same thing. Like, he's about to be mortally wounded, and then he just manages to kill him at the same time. Who could have thought of such a dramatic turn of events?
Right.
Martin, you in fact have thought of such a dramatic turn of events.
We have read it.
We read it.
We were all shocked.
Yeah, we enjoy it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's funny.
There's only so many tropes.
That is funny. And it's obviously it's a little different with the Dorne versus a Reach, but a Lannister is the one doing the
bad. Yeah. Doing the violence, starting the violence. Yeah, absolutely. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Bennis, and sort of like, I think Bennis is like a lot of talk because he gets yelled at in the next section that he shouldn't have attacked that guy. So that finally comes up. Skipping a little bit ahead, but we could go back. But it was where is it?
He says that was ill-considered.
Dunk cleared his throat, my lord. As to that, we would camp on the diggers well. And then Bennis is like, Dunk, don't trouble my lord with those trifles.
Oh, okay. This goes into like, so Bennis is so eager to tell him, oh, they dammed up your river, even though I said that we shouldn't fucking tell him that or whatever. And then Dunk is like, oh, by the way, this dumb motherfucker cut a guy there, and is like, the violence has already begun.
Right.
And Bennis is like, hey, we shouldn't burden him with like the details of what happened, because he knows that it makes him look bad. And so I guess this goes to your point, which is Bennis is trying to be, despite the fact that he privately to Dunk is like, I don't care about any of this, and I'm just trying to make my money. In front of the Lord, he's trying to look like the good guy. Like, he is trying to get the reputational wins, because he knows that if he's a piece of shit in somebody's service, it's going to make his future employment a lot harder. Because if he gains the reputation for being a piece of shit hedge knight, like, he's not getting any work.
And he tries to downplay it, because Sir Eustace is like, what kind of lesson did you teach? And he said, with my sword, as it were, a little claret on his cheek. That's all it was, my lord. Like, dude, fuck, bro?
A little claret. Just a little claret.
you know what you can do.
Well,
Sometimes you claret a cheek. I don't know.
sometimes why so serious?
Yeah. Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Exactly. A guy who just built a dam.
Yeah. Becomes the Weber Joker. Yeah, this is a villain origin story. Quick, someone write that fanfic. So it's like I said before, the characterization of Ben is just fabulous.
I thought
But
there was interesting. Oh, the one. This is just a slight shade on George for doing unnecessary incest.
oh yeah,
Where they talk about the stream, and Osgrey is just getting like wistful about like that stream's been called the Checky Water for 1,000 years, and this is what it's always been. And I had my first kiss by the stream. A cousin she was. You didn't have to do that. That was completely unnecessary. You didn't have to do that. Like him being like, and she was my cousin.
Yeah.
Like
I don't even describe like first cousin. My uncle's youngest daughter. First cousin.
Where he's like, in case you were thinking that maybe Osgrey was saying cousin and meant like a distant cousin. No,
cousin, like whatever.
No, I'm not leaving that. I'm not letting you off the hook. Like I am saying that this was a first cousin. We are blood relatives. Like, and we kissed. I'm just like,
George, didn't you all kiss your first cousins at one point along the river? Come on.
Just please let me rest. Please let me rest. Like there was just no need to say that he was kissing his first cousin. Anyways, I just thought that was very funny. Where it's like, where I'm like, oh, man. You're doing too much here, and it's really? You know, on the scale of George incest writing, this is like, I mean, trivial.
He just kissed his cousin.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
He does also mention he had another dead child, Alison, who liked to splash in the river. And then it just says Alison had been his daughter who had perished in the spring. And then just moves on.
Yeah. And we don't know what's been going on in the spring. Still yet.
Yeah.
But people died in the spring.
Oh, is this one of them there sicknesses that happens?
It's one of them there.
Oh, one of them there flus that goes
I think we're getting there. It's like a slight spoiler, but there is anyways.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like did she die young or did she die recently or whatever. So okay, I guess we'll probably get more of that.
I think it's more foreshadowing for this story, not necessarily foreshadowing for like the broader.
Yeah. So he's like, we got to get that river back because that's my kissing river. My cousin kissing river. I got to get that river back.
I do like the idea of the Lords of the Reach having like thick Southern accents where they're like, you know, the South in Westeros is always thought of as more like the South of England, where it's like the South is the more cultured and posh like area, where the North is the more, you know, it's sort of the inverse of the United States, where the North is thought of as more cultured and the South is more, you know, the hillbilly, etc. But I do love the idea of people in the Reach being like their waters. I built there a dam. Like
the woman will not have my water. She will not have my Checky water. I apologize. I just give terrible accents. I'll stop now. Is it pronounced Checky or Check?
So all I know is Harry Lloyd's pronunciation in the audiobook, and he says Checky, and so that is what I accept as correct. But does that mean it's right? No. But it's what I have heard, so that's what I repeat.
Yeah. I mean, George R. Martin does say Viserys instead of Viserys, and that's wrong. So
no, it's
Viserys. He's incorrect.
Don't like that.
Sorry, George. Yeah. I was getting it right over here. Yeah, so we decide we have to get their water back. And Eustace is also like, hey, it's bad that you cut that guy because you're gonna piss off her, the lady. You're gonna piss off Weber. You dumb shit. Why would you do that? And then he tells all kinds of horrible, more stories about her. We get She has a spider's heart. She murdered 3 of her husbands, and all her brothers died in swaddling clothes. 5 there were, or 6 maybe, I don't remember. They stood between her and the castle. She would whip the skin off any peasant who displeased her. I do not doubt, but for you to cut one, no, she will suffer no such insults. She'll come for you. And then he says she'll come for you as she came for Lem. And Bennis is like, the guy's name was Dake, not Lem.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I think this is like
you okay,
Eustace is old.
Yeah.
Is like the where it's like, yeah, he doesn't really know what's going on.
But I love that we have Weber as like, she's got a spider's heart. She's not only murdering husbands, but she's murdering babies.
Yeah.
Not just brothers.
Like 6 babies.
6 babies. She said, let's get those 6 babies in here. I'm killing those 6 babies.
I'm gonna be in charge.
Yeah. How dare she?
Exactly. His so Dunk looking at Eustace, I do want to say before we move on, he's like, the way he's described is like very specific.
Yeah.
And there is this a bit of of reverence from Dunk for his like liege lord, but there is also, I think, more being said by Martin in describing this like this particular guy as like upright, like despite he's saying he's old, but all of his descriptions of him are that he's still bearing some kind of physical, sort of strength, which is obviously sort of indicating that he's got these character traits of maybe being unyielding or stubborn or whatever, like however you want to describe him.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I had put this down in like themes or something, I forget, or analysis, but if we're talking about it now, we might as well just talk about it here. Because yes, I agree with you. I think that's a lot of what Martin is trying to portray, is that like, yes, this guy is old, but he also he's also capable still. And someone who can do something, and then someone who does do something, as we see. But I think this is such a good example of Martin's use of point of view in terms of description.
Sure.
And you see it a lot in A Song of Ice and Fire, obviously, as you go chapter by chapter. But what Martin does with point of view is he doesn't write in the first person, but he writes in this like very close third person. And you see him changing the language and his word selection, his word choice, based on whose point of view we're in. And we are in Dunk's point of view for all of these stories. We don't have other ones. The way he describes Sir Eustace is very distinctly how Dunk would describe. So this is all at the top of page 138. He sat listening intently with his chin up and his shoulders back, as upright as a lance. So Dunk is going to describe things in terms of lances and things like that, as opposed to someone like Tyrion, who might say like upright as a king, something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
In his youth, Sir Eustace Osgrey must have been the very picture of chivalry, tall and broad and handsome. So these are things Dunk is thinking about. Like, he must have looked like a knight. Time and grief had worked their will on him, but he was still unbent, a big-boned, broad-shouldered, barrel-chested man with features as strong and sharp as some old eagle. So a few things in this part. Still unbent. We know Dunk just spent 2 years in Dorne. Yeah. And the Dornish words are unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw unbent, it's a weird word to use. Like, to say, it's one thing to describe someone as being bent, and he just described him as upright as a lance. But to say specifically he's unbent, I think comes from that influence.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting lack of word choice here, which is that he says features as strong and sharp as some old eagle. So there is a word that means that in the English language. I believe it's aquiline. I put it in my notes. There is a word, aquiline. It means specifically that you look like a bird, even more specifically like an eagle. Like, we have a word for that.
Right.
And if this was Tyrion Lannister's point of view, Catelyn Stark's point of view, some of the older characters, like the older characters that have like a larger vocabulary, they would almost certainly have said Aquiline.
Yeah.
But this is Dunk. And so he says he looks like some old eagle. And then similarly going on, describing things as white as milk, ashy gray, and the repetition of the words gray for his mustache and for his eyes. This is all like very steeped in Dunk looking at this man and describing him how Dunk would describe. Not how George R. R. Martin would describe him, not how any other character would describe him, but like very strongly the point of view of Sir Duncan. So I just thought it was a really good example of that and how Martin does that in his writing. And we see that throughout this novel, these novellas and his other novels. If anyone ever is like, is there a close third person point of view? Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Yes. And you can cite to this. This is a really, really good example of it.
Yeah.
And part of what I think is so immersive about this text is that Martin keeps that point of view consistent.
Yeah.
And we don't have sentences in here that I'm like, that's weird. That belongs in like a Bran chapter in A Dance of Dragons, you know, like we don't have anything where I'm like, where am I? It's all consistently Dunk.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I do think, even seeing the recent stuff from like New York Comic-Con about like George talking about Duncan Egg and the fact that the Hedge Knight, and I think like Duncan Egg in general, just like came very easily to him. I think there is, that comes across in the consistency of the point of view, like, and the fact that he was just living in the head of Dunk and is very on point about just like sticking to what this kid thinks is going on. And it never feels, like you said, it never feels like out of place or anything. So Dunk gets sent to round up the troops, as it were. And by the troops, I mean literally the peasantry of the surrounding villages. The first person that's named in the villages is a guy named Mudge. Mudge.
How does one get the name Mudge?
A stoop-backed old swineherd who'd once been to
another
old.
stoop.
So it's more stoops all the way down.
Stoops all the way. Number one theme, stoops.
A stoop-backed old swineherd who'd once been to Old Town. Like, that is, in terms of like,
that's your friend that went to England that one time and comes back with an accent, you know? Yeah. Like, yeah, he went to London once.
My uncle, who was in Ireland for 2 weeks and came back speaking like he was like trying to be Irish.
Oh no.
Like, Uncle Jimmy, like, you are not Irish. Like, yes, your family's from Ireland, but you aren't Irish, just to be very clear. Anyways, that's a real thing. So they get to the villages, and I think like there's like a couple of, Dunk tries to be very sort of official in this interaction.
He does, my boy.
And so he's like proclaiming that every able-bodied man between the ages of 15 and 50 is commanded to assemble at the tower on the morrow. And a woman who is breastfeeding while he's giving this proclamation, which I hope I know we're like getting ahead of show hopes. I hope that is played for a comedy beat in this show. Like, of Dunk gives this big, like, everyone is like to stand and fight, and it cut to a woman breastfeeding in the front row who's like, is it war?
Yeah. It would be even better if she's like in her house or like her hovel and she like leans out the window with the baby and she's like, is it war? and then is the black dragon come again? So like this to me is like, it can be a little bit funny, and it's also indicative of the fact that like the poor people are not plugged in to any of the shit that's happening, right? Like
we get all of these like peeks into and the broken man speech is like the most obvious sort of example in all of Martin's work. But we get these peeks into, hey, the small folk don't know what the fuck is going on, and they don't actually like, they're being commanded to fight on behalf of a cause that they don't even understand is occurring.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's not only that they don't have, like, obviously I think they, there is like a vested interest, or Dunk at least is like, I am helping these people get water.
Right.
And there is like a material impact to their sort of conditions that he can affect. And crucially, none of them know that the war should be happening. And then he does say, the Red Widow has taken your water.
Yeah, he should have lead with that, Dunk.
And the woman, this is where the interaction becomes like genuine comedy.
Yeah.
Where it says, the woman nodded, so he says, like, the Red Widow has taken your water. And the woman nodded, though she looked askance when Egg took off his hat to fan his face. That boy got no hair. He's sick?
Oh, so
and
true.
Egg is upset and is very and is like it's like, it's shaven.
Yeah.
Back to this, but I do think that it's funny that Dunk goes up and makes this like heavy proclamation, and this woman is basically like, why that boy got no hair?
Yeah. Oh, I do love that. And like, I think that would be such a great like comedic scene. Like, especially like if he goes to this little town and he's like, everyone who between these ages and these ages has to come and fight. And like, if the crowd is just like a handful of people that do not fit that description.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what are we doing this time? What's going on?
It's like Monty Python a little
bit.
Like, I'm the king. Like, old woman, man.
Yes.
I'm not old. I'm 37. Like, that is this interaction to me of like,
yes.
Yeah. Why's the boy got no hair?
Bring out your dad. I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do love that. Oh, poor Dunk. He tried. He really did his best. And in the picture in the book, all the way in the very top in the corner, is that little like outline supposed to be Standfast?
Yeah, I do think so.
Oh.
I do think so.
The tiniest tower.
Yeah.
So cute. It is really interesting to sort of see this kind of story like on this like microcosm scale, when like in A Song of Ice and Fire proper, where like big armies and King's Landing and Storm's End and Winterfell and dragons, and this is like, we need to get our water back.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it actually is very important, because we will all literally die if we don't get our water back. So Egg is upset because this lady's like, this kid ain't got no hair.
Yep.
And he's like, it's a fashion statement. And he puts his hat back on and they leave.
Yeah. I am bald by choice.
Right. Well, kind of.
Yeah. Except if I grew out my hair, I would give away the fact that I am from the Magic family.
Right, exactly. Then you would know that I was magic, and you can't know about my magic hair.
You can't know
that I'm a magical white person. Come on.
My pure blood. Yeah, so we get this interaction between Dunk and Egg, because they have this whole thing. Dunk essentially, I don't want to say like fails to rally the troops or whatever, but he essentially has a conversation with one breastfeeding woman.
Yeah.
And then Egg, he realizes that Egg is like
in a mood,
kind of grumpy.
Yeah.
And so he starts to investigate this, and they have this interaction that is really interesting. And we get more references to the fact that Bennis is like, Egg has more thoughts about Bennis than like what we thought, just in that like he's dirty and mean mouthed and he pinches me, which is
Yeah.
like, okay, so there is like kind of a weird physical
Yeah, the
aspect to
pinching thing is
the,
so bizarre.
yeah,
So Egg says, like, he pinches me, and Dunk's response is he used to pinch me too. And
yeah.
and like Dunk had forgotten that this like old weird knight used to also pinch him.
When he was a squire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like under the arm or something. I forget. Like he
Mhm.
pinches him, and like, yeah, he would pinch me under the arm so hard he'd leave a bruise. His
Mhm.
fingers felt like iron pincers, but I never told Sir Arlen,
Yep.
which like is such a weird thing in so many ways, because I'm like, why is this older man pinching little boys?
Right. And that's a, yeah.
Why is he pinching them under the arm of all places?
Yeah.
And why is he pinching them so hard?
Mhm.
Like, it just, the whole thing is so weird. And there's like, and like the fact that like Dunk never said anything,
Yeah.
whereas Egg does, right? So we
Yeah.
always have these parallels between the two of them in their squirehoods. So Dunk just sort of took it, like just sort of took the abuse and was like, whatever, I'm a squire. People can
Yeah.
pinch me. But Egg is like a prince. So he's like, what the fuck is this guy pinching me?
Exactly. But it is an interesting parallel, like, because there hasn't up until this point, aside from, in the Hedge Knight, it's like, oh, Egg knows how to like scour mail or
Mhm.
whatever. Like, I also know how to scour mail, like
Mhm.
Dunk thought, This is the first time that there's like a common experience between a single person where like
Yeah.
Dunk experienced this
Mhm.
person as a squire and Egg also did. And Dunk is sort of also coming to the realization that he's essentially doing the same thing that Arlen did, which is like, hey, it doesn't cost you anything to tend his horses, just like shut up.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, but Dunk says, if he pinches you again, tell me and I'll end it.
Yeah.
So Dunk is like, oh, whoa, we're not pinching little boys around me. We're not doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and I mean, he says like, and he stands up for him, and then also says, but you do got to take care of horses. That's kind of the gig. That's your whole thing. And then Egg complains that Bennis never takes care of his horse, and it's like, oh man, this guy fucking sucks. He's like pinching kids, not brushing his pony.
It is the Arion thing of like he's not nice to horses and he's mean to Egg and like physically abusive of Egg. And it's like, here are the indicators that this guy sucks. Like,
and
mean to horses,
smells bad.
stinks, mean to horses, physically abuses Egg. Those are like the ways that you know that this guy is a piece of shit.
Right, exactly. Thanks, George. I didn't catch on. Now, if only he would drink out of the skull of his enemies, then maybe I would understand that he's really,
like
really bad.
Carl fucking Tanner.
Like Carl fucking Tanner. Remember that guy? Remember the bad show?
He is nothing like Carl fucking Tanner from the books.
No.
Because that guy didn't exist.
D&D don't know that. They didn't read the books. Come on. Don't bully them about their lack of reading the books. They read the Wikipedia article and they said, this is dumb. This is too many feelings. Let's give him a skull. And then that was it. That was the entire show. And so then Dunk is like, FYI, there's going to be these soldiers here that are definitely going to appear tomorrow. And there's definitely going to be people we're definitely going to have soldiers to fight with. You're going to have to serve them too. And Egg is like, I have to serve fucking small folk. And Dunk is like, give me one moment. I have a theme in my pocket. Let me pull this out for you. You are, in fact, about the age of an 8th grader. So we're going to talk about your book report. Here's what we're doing. And he gives like a really lovely, like, I called it Dunk's soliloquy, but he's basically like, we got to help these people become fighters because they're going to be green as summer grass. And they're, basically they're no different than you. He's like, how old were you when you first started with a sword? Egg says I was little, but the sword was made of wood. And Dunk's like, small folk, children also fight with wooden swords. They're just like sticks and branches. But they, basically we're all the same. and you have to take care of the horses. And it's like a really lovely moment between them, and really lovely to hear Dunk say all that.
Yeah. There's also a really interesting thing in here because, well, so one sort of I think the headline sort of line in this for me was, a man has pride no matter how lowborn he may be.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically puts Egg in their shoes as like, you would seem just as lost and stupid in their villages.
Yep. Absolutely.
And if you doubt that, go hoe a row and shear a sheep and tell me the names of all the weeds and wildflowers in Wattswood. And it's one of those things where it's like, what's important, right? Like, because in your world, yes, you are good at all of the things that people expect people to be good at. Like, you know how to take care of a horse and scour mail and ride and fight and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's the stuff that they value. And you couldn't be a farmer.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's where it's like, you couldn't do what these people do. And it's just that the stuff that you're good at and the family you were born into is valued in this society, and these people aren't. Now, Dunk doesn't, explicitly say any of that. But what was really interesting is that in amongst all of this, Dunk specifically says they wouldn't be able to name all the bits of armor or the arms of the great houses or which king it was who abolished the Lord's right to the first knight. I thought it was really interesting that that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it could have been like, which king built these roads, or which king built this castle, or which king, fought this war. He specifically uses the first knight, which then allows Egg to specifically reference Alysanne and Jaehaerys.
Yes. Well, not only reference, but correct Dunk.
Right.
Because, because Dunk says which king it was who abolished the Lord's right to the first knight. But woke Egg, knows it was Queen Alysanne. Who made that happen. Queen Alysanne convinced King Jaehaerys to abolish the first knight. He knows it was not King Jaehaerys on his own. Which is, first of all, knows his history very well. But also recognizing Queen Alysanne's rule and her engagement, which a lot of people say, like, Jaehaerys did all this great shit and ignore how he was so conciliatory. I invite all of you to go reread that section of Fire and Blood, and you tell me what he conciliated.
He just set up the largest civil war in the
I'm gonna just admit for you, nothing.
He just was the prelude to the largest civil war in the realm's history. So, and it's basically his fault. He
was married to Alysanne, the conciliator. That's what happened.
Right.
There, as a small aside, there is a time in the books where Alysanne leaves for the north and Jaehaerys has to stay in King's Landing to do politics. And he literally calls her back early because he's like, I cannot successfully do these politics. Please come home. And she has to leave the north early to go back to King's Landing.
And I'm sick of you spending time with this Stark man.
Yeah. Also, he's too hot. Please come home.
Yeah. I've heard tale of this hot Stark king or hot Stark lord.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought it was really interesting that he specifically mentions the first night, so it was Queen Alysanne convinced King Jaehaerys to abolish the first knight, which I'm confident this is the moment, like, from a meta perspective, like, I'm pretty confident this must have been the moment that George came up with this detail, because, like, the only other place it would have been would be Fire and Blood or World of Ice and Fire.
No, it's mentioned. It's mentioned. Jaehaerys and Alysanne are mentioned quite a lot in the primary series. I'm not sure.
But is First Knight in the primary series?
The fact that it's been abolished is mentioned because the fact that Roose still practices it is an issue.
Yes.
I don't know if it's attributed to anyone. So you might be right.
That would be interesting. Yeah. Anyways, I was just thinking that, like, maybe this is when George decided, like, oh, it was Alysanne who like Yeah. But so Egg has sort of this, like, oh, well, then I could teach them history and they could teach me, like, how, what berries are poison and what berries are good to eat or whatever. And Dunk is like, yeah, they could. And before you do that, we should probably teach them how to fight, because that's going to happen first.
Yeah,
And
teach them
I
how to
think
hold a spear.
there's like a realism sort of ground back in where it's like, hey, and at the end of the day, like, the battle's going to come long before you're going to be able to give them a history lesson.
Right,
And
exactly.
I think it's sort of like the unending, there's whatever. There's like the unending march of the fact that these poor people aren't going to have time to learn about history
Mhm,
or King Jaehaerys. Like, they're going to have to fight, and
mhm.
then maybe there'll be time to, but yeah, it's Egg has kind of this pipe dream of like, well, what if I just taught them and then they teach me and then we're all better for it? And it's like, ah, sweet Egg, like,
Oh, sweet summer child.
dreaming of a better society. How dare you?
Oh, if only you would be in a position of power where you can implement some of these ideas. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh, if only that could happen. So
And
that is where we end our section.
it is.
Uh, we talked about a lot of the analysis as we kind of went through.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the sour leaf. Um, there is a wormwood reference, just briefly, when Eustace is holding the shield, that old shield he found somewhere, the old shield he got from the witch on Etsy, has the wood was full of wormholes. Wormholes, for Martin, he tends to use in a somewhat significant way. I mean, they're primarily just like about decay, but anytime he's like about worms or snakes or anything like that's kind of imagery that's woven into everything that he writes. So I just noticed that was interesting. We talked about the point of view of describing Eustace already. I wanted to talk about horses.
Yes.
Just briefly.
There is a lot of horse talk.
Well, in that last bit we were just reading.
Yeah.
When Egg was complaining that Bennis does not brush his horse. So Egg says Bennis never brushes him. He never cleans his stall. He hasn't even named him. Some knights never name their horses, Dunk told him. That way, when they die in battle, the grief is not so hard to bear. There are always more horses to be had, but it's hard to lose a faithful friend. Or so the old man said, but he never took his own counsel. He named every horse he ever owned.
Yeah.
The characterization, the continuing characterization of Sir Arlen, first of all.
Yeah.
Who's opened on screen as a corpse.
Yes.
He's like never once alive on page.
Yep. Being buried.
Being buried. Literally his funeral. But just the fact that like he's a man who like knew the utility of a horse to himself as a knight, but could not bring himself to treat an animal as an object is such excellent characterization. And it's so brief. It's just like just a few words on the page, but it tells you so much, as opposed to someone like Bennis, who's like not even brushing his horse, not naming his horse, whatever, right? Which is arguably the more practical thing as a knight, because yeah, your horses can and do die in battle frequently.
Sure.
That's like part of the game. But the fact that Sir Arlen, every horse he had, he named and he bonded with. And as a recovering horse girl, I understand that desire to do that. And just speaks really highly of Sir Arlen, and consequently of Dunk. Though he doesn't think about it, all the horses he has are also named.
Yep.
So Thunder is named from when Sir Arlen named him. But they have this, I think it's a mule, Maester.
Yep. The mule is Maester.
Yeah.
And then the other horse, like they had Sweetfoot and
missing Sweetfoot. Poor Sweetfoot had to get sold.
Yeah.
But Maester is a new horse or new mule that they must have bought at some point for Egg, and it's named. So it's not like he was like, don't name the mule, it could die. Like it's a tool, like, anything like that. Like he's like, yeah, what do you want to name? But I'm sure Dunk let Egg name the mule.
Yeah.
Because Dunk is not going to name a mule Maester. Like, so it's just like such characterization of Arlen. And then it kind of feeds into that theme we talked about previously of like paying it forward, like kindness begets kindness. So like here's Arlen being really good to his horses, being a really good role model for Dunk, and now
Yep.
Dunk doing the same thing for Egg, and sort of seeing that line go forward. It's really nice. It's just like a really nice. This is the whimsy I came for, you know.
Right. Well, and like you said, I think the idea that he doesn't, it's not just the, because it could be forgiven. Oh, Bennis doesn't name his horses because they die and he doesn't want to like have to handle that.
Mhm.
It's like he also doesn't brush the horses. He doesn't clean their stalls. Like it's a broader like lack of caring
Yeah.
and attention for these living things that are indispensable in many ways. Like for a knight, like they have to have a horse to be able to be a knight.
Mhm.
um and Dunk and Egg both sort of recognize the value in treating a living thing like that with a lot of reverence and care,
Mhm.
and like and having a bond even if it makes it harder
Right.
to
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
doing
Mhm.
the harder thing versus like, oh well, it's easier just to not bond with your horse because it may die. um
Also, like the kind of psychopathy of like the potential ability to not bond with your horse. I mean,
right.
horses live a long time. If you're not regularly riding into battle, you can have a horse for 10 years, 20 years. Like you can have a horse for a long time. Like at the end of what 12-year stint with the horse, it dies, and you're like, that's fine.
You're like, at least I didn't name it.
Right. It's bizarre. Well, there was like a world building detail back in a Game of Thrones. I think it was in a Game of Thrones that like the Dothraki don't name their horses.
Mhm.
And I always thought that was so unrealistic.
Sure.
I'm like, and like I don't know if like there's like I don't know very much about like nomadic like Native American tribes or whatever, like if there was
Yeah,
like
it'd be
a practice or
interesting
not.
to
I
explore.
Yeah, I'd be curious, but I should ask my dad. He knows a lot about he knows a lot about Native Americans. Uh but I
Because yeah, I would say
cannot.
between like Native American tribes and then like Turkic
Yeah.
like nomadic tribes, it would be interesting to know
If you're using the
whether
same
naming was
horse,
common.
if you're using the same horse, if like every day you're using a different horse, like okay, fine. But if
Sure.
you're using the same horse, which like for your horsemanship you probably should be,
Yeah.
uh I just can't. It's like it's so easy for humans to bond with animals. We get
Mhm.
dogs and we're like all about like we like love pets. And I just find it so hard to believe that a group like the Dothraki, who were so into like horses as revered animals,
Mhm.
would not like name their specific horses. Um, I just thought
Well,
that
and
was.
yeah, and when you think about, because yeah, obviously the Dothraki are based in certain ways off of those like Eurasian like steppe
Mhm.
tribes of nomads, but like Tengri, like is their religion. It's like a shamanistic,
Mm.
animistic sort of religion of everything's got a spirit, and
Mhm.
like, so the idea that they would look at a horse and be like, this is a gift from the gods and I don't give a shit if
Right.
it died, right? Like uh is crazy. Like that's
Yeah.
not, that doesn't make any sense. Like the idea that they would be dismissive of that. Now, I think
Mhm.
it is common practice, like just based on like current culture and having been to like Kazakhstan
Mhm.
and like they eat horse. Like that's a part of, but it was also partially because like they revered the animal to the point where it was like they were, beasts of burden and war and
Mhm.
companions, and when they died, like they also utilized like their bodies for sustenance,
Mm.
so there's like a level of like reverence that's also present in that.
Mhm.
So anyways, like I just think again the idea that, oh, there was no like care for these beings because they were just so
Mhm.
like so numerous, and oh, it's like a horse tribe, so they just like don't give a shit about their horses. That's
Mhm.
crazy. Like
No.
they
That yeah.
obviously cared the most, because these were the their most sort of I guess like revered, and like the reason that they gained any sort of like power and
Oh
and
yeah,
conquest and
absolutely.
all this stuff like was
Mhm.
literally on the backs of horses, like
Yeah.
so.
But it's interesting too, like to think about, and we've talked about before, like the comparison between the Dothraki and the Westerosi knights, like
Mhm.
knighthood versus like the Dothraki, and how like they're
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. Um, so it's interesting to think about like if it's more practical for a Westerosi knight to not name his horse, and that's like the more manly thing to do is to not name your horse. But like there are knights that are clearly doing that because they love their horses.
Yeah.
We're told the Dothraki don't name their horses. But like, is that true?
Right.
Is that like what all the guys say? But like
Yeah.
they really are, this is Applejack, like is it like really? Could you imagine Khal Drogo riding into battle on like Shutterfly?
I'm trying to like, and they're named like Kentucky Derby like
Yeah.
horses or whatever, where it's like yeah,
Seabiscuit or whatever it is.
the
Yeah.
grass sea biscuit, or
Grassy.
the
Oh, we
great
can't
grass
write me. I know.
great grass sea biscuit.
The great grassy biscuit. Oh, that's good. That's good.
uh
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get that sidetracked into horses.
no,
I
no, no, I think it's like worthwhile, and because like George uses disdain or lack of caring or like literal violence against animals as a characterization tool in both of
Mhm.
these books,
Yeah.
I do think it's 100% worth talking about. Yeah, and we did talk about, I guess, most of this. The folks, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, if you are this deep into the podcast, but this is a story about class.
Whoa, 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 hold on, oh, whoa, hey. Don't this is only for the 8th graders and up, okay? This is
Oh yeah,
themes.
no,
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah,
You must be
sorry.
12 to hear this theme.
What I meant to say is it's not that deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, we're an hour and a half in. It's not that deep. Don't
It's
worry
not
about
that
it.
deep.
Yeah, so classism. It's here. It's bad.
There. Yeah.
We talked about it a lot. Most of it, I think,
Yeah,
was contained in Dunk's like ending soliloquy there. But we're talking about Dunk getting more aware. He's like almost realizing
Yeah.
that classism is bad.
He's very close.
He's beginning to understand that like classism is kind of fake. Like that's what he's telling Egg. Like, you think you're all fucking hot shit because you know this shit about your Harris, but you'd fucking die in the woods because you don't know what to eat. So like he's like aware that classism has flaws.
Yeah.
He's not quite at, and it is bad.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how his feelings about that develop over time. But we talked about a lot of the classism stuff. I did want to talk about a little bit more about Eustace and the sad, very bad life of Eustace Osgrey. Osgrey. It's because sometimes I don't know if you've encountered this on the wide internet, but sometimes people on the wide internet are like really unreasonable. And they just have like hot takes that are just confusing. And one hot take I've encountered is the critique of A Song of Ice and Fire broadly, in that it is romanticizing or glorifying like feudalism and like medieval times and kings and monarchs and this kind of thing.
Sure.
To which I always ask, like, did you read the books at any point? Or are you just saying this from your ass? Because what are you talking about?
Yeah.
George, I can't think of another example of a passage that so perfectly encapsulates that George R. R. Martin thinks feudalism is bad than the passage about Eustace. So it's on page 135. We talked about it before, but we didn't read all the way through it. It's describing Sir Eustace. So the boys were Eustace Osgrey's sons, Edwin, Harold, Adam. Edwin and Harold had been knights, Adam young squire. They had died on the red grass field 15 years ago at the end of the Blackfire Rebellion. Quote, they died good deaths, fighting bravely for the king, Sir Eustace told Dunk, and I brought them home and buried them among the blackberries. His wife was buried there as well. Whenever the old man breached a new cask of wine, he went down the hill to pour each of his boys a libation. To the king, he would call out loudly just before he drank. That, can I tell you, when I read that earlier today, I teared up reading that.
Yeah. Oh, it's devastating.
It's like it bangs you over the head with violence is not worth it. War is not worth it. Feudalism is not worth it. This man has given everything to the system. His 3 sons died fighting for the system. And what does he have? He has a glass of wine among the blackberries with their graves.
Yep.
What an image. It's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. And it just George R. Martin, the menace, everyone. The menace, George R. Martin.
This is him at his most menacing. I do think it's hilarious that the book A Feast for Crows exists and people are like, this guy thinks that monarchy is great. Like,
yes.
Oh my God. Right.
Yeah.
But even in this passage, like, like you said, just the idea that it's like, we're taking a noble person who the system gives its advantages to, is like, this system is built for people like him.
Yeah.
And he is also not doing well. Like, the small folk not doing well. Him not doing well. Like, nobody thrives, right? Like, it is bad for everybody. And yeah, just the idea. And there'd probably be people who are like, oh, boo-hoo, like the nobleman lost people in a war that he, like, fighting over some bullshit that he wanted or whatever. It's like, the implication here is that if his sons are dying and his daughter is dying, then think of the poor people who are dying, right? Where it's like, if he's losing sons at an alarming rate, then guess who's losing sons even more so? And it's not to say, the poor guy had his sons die, or the rich guy had his sons die. It's like, no, nobody's thriving. Like, this system makes it bad for everybody.
Exactly. And I mean, part of that is just that violence is bad broadly, right? And then part of that is that there's a lack of choice. The Osgrey sons, 2 of whom were knights, would not have been able to be like, I'm going to sit this one out.
Right.
I'm just going to, I'm good. I'm taking my PTO, I'm not going to go to the red grass field.
Yeah.
They undoubtedly had to go. There wasn't a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
And the violence perpetuating violence. So here we have Eustace Osgrey with this just absolutely devastating passage.
Yeah.
And then 2 pages later, sending Dunk to find guys to do the same thing.
Right.
Being
like, they're stealing our water.
Yeah.
Now people need to go fight. Yeah.
Right.
And the crazy thing about this passage too is that we know, so it says that they died on the red grass field 15 years ago at the end of the Blackfire Rebellion. We crucially, as of yet, do not know on which side of the rebellion they were fighting.
Yep.
Up until this point. And I think that's the thing, is like, where we are in the story, this is kind of a nice place to be, because I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter. Right? Like, it doesn't matter whose side.
Are you saying the history of the Blackwoods and the Brackens isn't really important as to who started the fight? Right. Are you saying it's almost like violence is bad all the time? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, we crucially know that the Blackfire Rebellion was a succession war, right? Like, it wasn't, because I think people could get into maybe philosophical arguments about like when violence is justified and all of that sort of stuff. And I want to make it very clear that they weren't fighting about some very important, like, human right.
Right. Exactly.
They were fighting over who should be king. So yes, it definitely doesn't matter.
Yeah, there
who
definitely is, and within Martin's text, violence as liberation.
Mhm.
Yes, that definitely
Yeah,
exists.
yeah.
Yeah. But
But
yeah,
in
in
this
terms of
case,
who
it's like
gets to wear the shiny crown,
right. In this particular case, it just it doesn't matter. And we don't know who they died for, and it won't matter. Like, even when we find out, it won't change the fact that they're dead and buried under blackberry
yeah,
bushes, right? Like that is the devastating part of this.
yeah.
So yeah.
Uh,
No, George the Menace.
Damn it, George.
How dare you? So what do you want to see from this section in the show when season 2 rolls around? What is it that you want to see in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms?
The Dunk soliloquy at the end, verbatim.
Yeah.
I want the actor to actually pull out a copy of the book
Yeah.
on screen and just crack it open and just give like a little cough, clear his throat, and just read it directly. That's what I want. Just anything less than that, I will be unhappy with the adaptation.
I do love how our version of the show, I know I've mentioned it before, but our version of the show is like crazy campy.
Yes.
And we've effectively turned Dunk into Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
You
know, it would be great if it started with him like looking at the camera and it going, zzz, so you might wonder how I got here.
Exactly. That's what the fourth wall break of just like, and honestly, like the way things are going, like, will the themes need to be communicated that way? Of just like giant text on screen of like the theme of this scene is capitalism is bad. Like like
just a bunch of big words that say, "Do you get it?"
Yeah.
Like, just flashing here and there.
Is any of this seeming familiar to you?
Yes.
Like,
what about you? What do you want to see? I know you mentioned the woman already.
Oh yeah, that totally, like, I definitely want the like Monty Python interaction when he goes for the big war announcement and the breastfeeding woman is like, "Who are you and what's going on?" But I think Sir Bennis's casting is going to be really important in terms of like, do they get someone that is able to really capture this specific brand of like, he's not immediately like, you can't have somebody who just jumps off the screen as like, this is the bad guy or whatever, like, or this person is bad. Like, you kind of need someone who toes the line. Is like, oh, it's this grizzled guy who's just like, he's got sort of his hardened, like, calcified opinions about things, and he's kind of like he's kind of got an edge to him. But I don't want it to be immediately like apparent that, evil guy, this guy, he's definitely evil. Like, so I think getting the casting right and just having it be a guy who is able to convey this very specific brand of shithead. Like, where it's kind of sneaky at first and then like gets considerably worse as it goes, and he can get crueler and crueler. I really want Bennis's actor to like be someone that by the end of the season people are like, just love to hate this guy. And
I know he's like totally the wrong age, but the actor who played Joffrey, it would be kind of funny if they brought him back as like a different asshole. I know he's like way too young for the role.
Wait a minute.
Just get him and put some like gray makeup on him to make him look a little older. Like, hold
on. But I mean, speaking of the show, and there's been a lot said about it because we sort of like timing wise, I think we literally recorded like right before the trailer came out, and now we're recording like after it came out, and it's sort of old news. Even to the point where just before we started recording this, I recorded a TikTok being like, everyone was so excited and now nobody's talking about it again, but we are. So like, come listen to the podcast. But the A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, we have an actual trailer. We had teaser images, New York Comic-Con, the two main actors were so there together. As like, George R. Martin was also present, and a few of our friends from TikTok were like there
Yes.
which is very cool.
Yes.
And got to meet George, like
And
Holly, who was on our
Holly
show, like
Bean got to meet. She has a video of her meeting him. I literally I cried watching her meet George R. R. Martin.
in a like very legit book accurate
She
Daenerys
sewed
cosplay.
she sewed her own book accurate Daenerys cosplay. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I watched the like documented it on TikTok. I
yeah.
watched the whole process. It was amazing. She did such a great job.
And that's all ahead of the fact that Chelsea, aka Hallowed Harpy, is also is close to finalizing her Hrothgar cloak
Yes.
book
Oh
accurate
yes, I've been
Daenerys
watching that too. Yes,
cosplay.
yes.
So there is a lot of like amazing book accurate Daenerys cosplay going on. So if you
Yes.
do not follow either Holly Bean or Hallowed Harpy, you need to follow
Go
both.
do that now. Yeah. We'll
And
wait.
and so anywho, amongst all of that, we have stuff about the show now. What was your impression of the trailer and just like how it's been received, I guess?
So I will preface this by saying that I have been burned by HBO many times before.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to be happy about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because they've done this, they've
Yep.
told me they were going to show up on time to the restaurant and then not shown up.
Exactly.
I need to prep my heart for the letdown in
This
case it happens.
this particular situationship that we are in with HBO
Exactly. I
has
should
hurt
leave.
us.
I
Like-
should leave, but then,
Like it's been
they're gonna do
good.
better next time.
It's been good and it's been very bad. And but
they promise they're not going to hurt me again, so
Exactly.
this so I was excited. I liked the trailer. I liked the vibe. I thought the
Mhm.
tone was good. I thought the writing was what the scenes they showed us, the writing was good.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people complimenting it on the amount of color. I actually found it a little bit too grayscale for me.
Yeah.
But that could have just been the particular clips they were
Mhm.
showing. And it might also just be like I'm watching it on like a tiny phone, right? So like
Yeah.
I will really in real life be watching this on my giant television in my living room.
Right.
So it should hopefully look very different. But I think the casting so far looks like it's really good. We do not have answers to some important questions that I know you were asking about.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the trailer?
So I think I share your feeling of like cautious optimism.
Mhm.
Of the vibe feels very correct. There is a playfulness about the back and forth between Dunk and Egg, and there's like a level of humor that they're allowing themselves, which I think like it's one of the things that can be frustrating about, and I think this probably is true for like the Bad Show and House of the Dragon, in that like the moments of levity that they go for are often like too, I don't know, it's almost like too maybe inconsistent's the right word, maybe like where it feels almost like to break you out of like what's happening. Where the one that sticks out to me from like more recent history is the House of the Dragon scene when Prince Jaehaerys is at the small council with Aegon.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's like shitting on the Lannister brother who's there or whatever, and is like, you're a horsey, like be a horsey or whatever. And I'm just like,
oh
why
yeah,
is any of that like, this isn't like that. It just felt weird where I'm like, is this like, I don't know that this is like funny. Like it's definitely odd. But I don't know that it's like funny.
The only funny moment I can remember from House of the Dragon was after in season 2 when Rhaenyra and Mysaria are like making out and the Kingsguard walks in on them.
Okay, that was funny. That was hilarious.
That was very funny.
I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but it definitely was.
It was very funny. But I don't. They're not. I agree. I think that they have had a difficult time marrying drama with some levity, and then the Bad Show just had stupid shit.
Right.
Like,
where it's like,
finger bum or whatever. It's like, oh, are you 12? Okay.
Exactly.
Great.
Whereas this, like, I think the other encouraging thing about this is that there is definitely a lot of the book in the writing of the show, which I'm not asking for a 1-to-1 adaptation. That's not like the goal. And there are so many scenes out of this book where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the dialogue in this is amazing. Just
Yep.
leave it in. And
Yep.
so I was very encouraged that a lot of the scenes in the trailer were just straight off the page. Like it was just straight up
Mm-hmm.
book stuff, which was
Yeah.
very encouraging. I share the more muted reaction to people being like really revved up about the color because I do
Mm-hmm.
think that the tents and stuff that I saw in the trailer, I'm like, I was expecting more.
Yeah, I wanted it to
In
be brighter, but
yeah,
maybe it will be.
because there was like the one teaser photo right before the trailer came out, and it's like
Mhm.
Duncan Egg looking at a field, and they're like, people were making like whole TikToks that are like, look at how green it is or whatever. I was like, guys, it's a picture. Let's
Listen, we
chill.
gotta make content out here. We are dehydrated for content here.
I was just like,
Water us, George.
maybe we just like don't jump to conclusions over a single poster after 2 years of production. They have given us nothing,
Yeah.
So anyways, and then the last I guess the last point I would make is, yes, we are still waiting for official confirmation of a brown-haired Baylor Breakspear.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are like, oh, you can see him like in the box in the one part of the
No,
trailer, or you can
you
whatever.
cannot.
I was like, he's not definitively on screen. I think
Mm-hmm.
they did that on purpose because I
Yeah.
think the Baylor Breakspear thing is supposed to be a bit of a reveal.
Yeah.
They use Lionel Baratheon, which at first, when I watched the trailer, I was like, I don't know if I buy this guy as Lionel Baratheon, but then he
Mm-hmm.
was like, he has the sort of like, there's a little bit of like an unhinged
Wasn't he like
Baratheon.
laughing in the trailer at some point?
Yeah,
Hey,
like
isn't he the laughing storm?
he's a laughing
Hey,
storm. He's
oh,
like, so
he's laughing. He's a Baratheon. Done. We got it.
that's I bought it more having seen the trailer. And so anyways, like there's a lot to be optimistic about. I think the costuming, and in particular, one of the things that like I would have loved to see maybe a slightly more book accurate version of Arian's armor, but his helm with the
Dude, that was
flames from the
fucking
light, it
cool.
looks dope as hell. So
It
I'm like,
does look dope as hell. I will say I'm gonna keep an eye out for this during. So the helmet, dope as hell.
yeah,
Here for the helmet. I love. Give me a dragon helmet. I love it. It's fantastic.
yeah,
They do have this problem in House of the Dragon where when they make the armor like just black, like matte black,
yeah,
it ends up looking like Eva craft foam. And like Daemon Targaryen in House of the Dragon has these like
yeah,
these big pauldrons that are supposed to be really imposing. And I'm like, I know cosplayers who made that.
right,
Like
yeah,
I have seen it myself.
yeah.
And
Those
that is Eva craft foam. You get special glue and you put the
yeah,
strips.
those have
So
appeared at a LARP camp this year.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
I saw those recently.
yeah,
So I'm just I'm going to keep an eye out and see what they do
yeah,
in terms of the armor stuff.
yeah.
But helmet did look dope. I love me
It-
a good helmet. Someone else had a good in House of the Dragon, right? Very big. The first episode with the joust, didn't Damon had a cool dragon helmet?
Damon had a cool dragon helmet that was a bit unrealistic for jousting, given that it had an open face. But whereas like this would be a good
Yeah,
way to accidentally die. But Damon's
yeah,
also a psychopath, so like,
yeah. Also, cool helmet. So
and cool
if
helmet.
if
They
helmet
also
cool enough,
they
brain
also
brain
had
no need brain.
Gwaine, not Gwaine, whichever Hightower, the older of the Hightower brothers of Otto's oldest son, not Gwaine, but he has another
There's
son
another one. Oh shoot.
who becomes, or maybe it is Gwaine. I don't know. Maybe it is Gwaine. Anyways, whoever it is. So
Hmm.
Daemon jousts him. Daemon does a sort of an Arion, but not exactly, where his lance like hits the horse in the legs and
Yeah.
the Hightower guy. Well, in that first scene, the Hightower character is not like, I think they specifically had him in a helm so they didn't have to actually cast a person
Yeah.
until he's in the story. but his helm was like a tower, which
Oh,
was sick.
really? I
Like
didn't
that was
notice that.
yeah. So that sort of stuff is cool, and I'm into that. And yeah, I think in this trailer they showed sort of the trial of Seven in a very
Mhm.
zoomed out way, where it was clear that Lionel Baratheon's helm had antlers, which
Yeah.
is also sick.
Yeah.
So that sort of stuff, I appreciate that, and that they went kind of big for that sort of stuff. They definitely went
Mhm.
big with the puppet show. I was not anticipating,
Mhm.
because I was picturing puppets like,
Like little, yeah,
hey,
yeah.
here are puppets, and they
Yeah.
have like a dragon the size of like, it's like a 2-story tall dragon puppet, or whatever, breathing actual fire.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I thought it was I'm cautiously optimistic. I am excited.
Mhm.
The casting of Duncan Egg in particular seems like they just like nailed that.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how that all plays out. But
When
but
does
yeah, overall I'm feeling quite good about it.
the potentially new good show come out? January?
January.
But then don't we have
So
House of the Dragon in the summer?
yeah.
Oh,
So
Jesus, we're gonna be well fed next year.
yeah, it is. They're
2026 here, the dragon.
we're
Just
getting our
like,
vitamins and minerals.
yeah.
So
Getting our vitamin D with Dunk. Do you get it?
D squared, Dunk and Dragons.
Yes.
So yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to it. But like you, reserving judgment, where it's like
Yes.
there's no point in going to bat for this show yet. You haven't seen it.
And HBO doesn't have the clout for that.
Exactly.
You know, like
They haven't done enough.
I feel the same way as when House of Dragon first came out. I was like, I'm gonna watch it to see what's happening,
For sure.
and I might be pleasantly surprised, and I hope I am. I hope I am pleasantly surprised. I'd rather watch a show I like than watch a show I don't like. I'd much rather come onto this podcast and be like, wow, what a great episode.
Contrary to how most of the internet feels, where they'd
Yeah.
much rather watch a show they hate.
Well, I do love hate watching, and I find hate watching to be like a passion of mine.
It's cathartic.
It's great. But I do also like to like things. So I like to enjoy my time instead of like just seething and shaking violently watching television.
Well, as we wrap things up here, and as I get to plugs for you, I did want to quickly say, so something that has been going on, as for anyone who's been listening to this podcast for any time knows that Belok's been writing a little zombie story called Cataclysm.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, and no pressure, I can like cut this if it's whatever. Okay. The body horror in this most recent section.
You gotta tell me what chapter you're reading because I'm ahead of you. So
so I guess it was 11.
Was it when Milo wakes up?
Milo wakes up, yeah.
Okay.
So the body horror in that particular section was very reminiscent to me. Was there inspiration drawn from Arya Targaryen?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
With the worms in the skin.
Worms. Yeah.
Like, I was just like, as the worms are crawling, I'm like, it's happening again.
There's definitely a lot. So for those who don't know, then this is fine. This is not like spoilers. The zombies in my zombie stories are caused by worms. And the original inspiration, the original inspiration of the worms was all of George R. R. Martin's fucking worm imagery. Then I was like, I want to write a zombie story. I've come up with like a cool way for zombies to happen. And the benefit of there being worms is that the worms actually like heal the zombies, so you don't run into that issue of like that they would have decomposed by now.
Sure.
Because it's like the story starts like 30 years after the zombie apocalypse hits. So I always find that confusing in zombie stories when it's like, but they would be decomposed at this point. Like they would no longer be around. So the worms are like it's the host body. So the worm's like fixing you and making sure you're good because otherwise the worm will die.
Right.
Or potentially, we don't know. So when one of the characters wakes up for the first time, and they're full of worms. they got worms everywhere. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you got worms. Hey, you gotta
it no, it was just it was very interesting because specifically reading it from you, I was like, I wonder if there's a little bit of like, because I knew about the, obviously, we've talked about the George Worm
Oh yeah.
affinity, but there was something specifically very Araya about that
Yeah.
whole situation.
Yeah.
But what
Definitely.
else do you have going on? Where can people find you?
So I do still have TikTok. I promise I'm coming back to post again at some point. I've just been very busy because I have been like really deeply into writing Cataclysm. And actually, I think I'm going to start posting on TikTok about writing Cataclysm some more.
That's
By the way, if
awesome.
anyone's interested in reading my silly little zombie story that definitely has no themes,
No,
it
none at
is
all.
none. No, it's just a silly campy zombie story. It's fine. You won't have
Yeah.
to think deeply at all. It's okay.
Yeah.
But that the link to that is in my TikTok. So my TikTok is Beelock, Beelock. That's probably the best place to follow me. You can also follow me on Blue Sky because I do post like repost links and stuff there to my YouTube, which I'm still doing with my dad. And I think Gretchen and I are going to be recording another episode or two of House of Fire and Blood in November. So there should be a few more episodes of that coming out. But yeah, those are the main places I am. Where can they find you?
Primarily TikTok still.
Mhm.
I have been kind of all over the map with my posting recently.
Well, you got all that Final Fantasy stuff going,
A
which has
lot of
been
Final
great.
Fantasy stuff. I've
I love
also
you
been talking.
discovering that Final Fantasy Tactics is about the church. That's
Oh man. So Final Fantasy Tactics, I will tell you, just as a very brief aside, is when Final Fantasy Tactics came out for PlayStation 1 and I was like conscious of it,
Mhm.
I was a mainline Final Fantasy snob, I think, where
Oh,
it was a different type of game. It was a
yep.
cartoony art style. And it was like, no, I'm a serious person who plays Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8, where the characters are three-dimensional and
Mhm.
and uh everybody sort of wants to kiss or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
And so you're
I
like,
sort of want everyone to kiss.
yeah, or
Yeah,
maybe that
yeah,
was more so it.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, like when I saw Final Fantasy Tactics is like, okay, it's a return to sort of a 2D, this sprite art style. It looks very like at the time it's like, oh, it's very like SNES. I'm
Yeah.
like, that doesn't look like it's for serious adults like me. I'm like 11, mind you.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, this isn't like a serious game. This is for like little babies or whatever. Meanwhile,
Mhm.
I'm playing it at my current age, and
Mhm.
the new remaster, remake, re-release, whatever, the Ivalice Chronicles, and it is I'm like, oh my god. Number one,
Mhm.
like maybe the most thematic or theme filled like Final Fantasy, in that
Mhm.
most of the mainline Final Fantasies have like one big thing that they're trying to tell you, and like there'll be other stuff
Yeah.
sprinkled in, of course, but there's sort of like one main thing. Final Fantasy Tactics is like, hey, we're giving all of it. Like every single battle you fight, there's a theme. There's a like
Final
when
Fantasy
I'm like,
Tactics said, "Open wide. We're feeding
yeah,
you the themes."
where I'm like, you meet a nobleman like early on in the game who's like, I have to find my liege lord, and you're like, oh yeah, we should like help you do that or whatever. And then the first chance he gets, he's like, look, a poor person, like kill him or whatever. And you're like, wait, what? And he's like,
Yeah.
and he's screaming at this person like, you were made less than me by the gods. And I'm like,
Uh,
so anyways, yeah, absolutely amazing, and I can't recommend playing Final Fantasy Tactics enough to
how
someone
do
who
you
was
find
like me and thought this is not a game for serious people. And I'm like, no, this is a game for the most serious people, and it's also kind of hard.
I was about to say, how do you find the gameplay? Because my exposure to Final Fantasy Tactics, I didn't play it, but my brother did. So my
Yeah,
brother's 5 years older than I am. So a
sure.
lot of times he would play games and I would watch. I love watching people play video games. And so I'm familiar with the storyline and things like that from having watched him play. But my brother is like a savant when it comes to like tactic kind of games. Like you never want
Sure.
to play a board game against Chris because you'll give him 15 minutes with the rule book and he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, you play Magic the Gathering against him, you're done. Like he's just like so good at that stuff. And I remember
He's
him
just-
playing tactics.
You're
and
like,
just,
when is my turn, actually? And he's
Yeah,
like, there is
okay,
no
yeah.
your turn. You lose.
Right. He's so good at that stuff. And I
Yeah.
remember him playing tactics and like sitting down and figuring out like the different combinations of things and like
Yeah.
just like getting really into it. So
Yeah.
and he even struggled with it. So
It
how
is-
are you finding it?
It is a challenging game for sure. And
Mhm.
and it was funny because I think, again, like art style and stuff, when going into it, I was like, this will be easy.
Right.
Like, I'm good at Final Fantasy. I know how to like fight in this system, and it with the tactics board and all that sort of stuff, and the
Mhm.
way the battle system works, it is like obviously entirely different from how battles typically play in the, you know, more standard sort of JRPG version of
Right.
Final Fantasy. So it is very tough, and it was very hard to get used to, and the job system is its own thing. Like, there's a lot of very intricate things going on.
Mhm.
And I won't pretend like I'm not leaning heavily on guides to
Yeah.
like get my way through this game, as someone who has a lot less time to play video games than I
Yeah.
used to. It's like, I want to experience the challenge and like accomplish stuff, and I do want to see the story without having to invest like a lot of time losing the same battle over and over
Yeah.
again.
And is tactics the one where if somebody dies, they die permanently?
Yes.
Yeah. I
Which
remember that
is
was like the
really
first
crazy.
game. That was like the first game Chris and I played where that was like that was true, and we were like, wait, they're dead for real?
Yeah.
Like they're dead in real life? What do you mean?
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because it's like you like sometimes you want to play a game and like have a challenge, and sometimes you want to relax.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't do that with the same game.
Yeah. And sometimes you're trying to make your way through a game so you can make content about the plot. And
Yeah.
I guess that probably about does it.
Yeah, light little 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Do we know how far we're reading next time? We chose
So
it.
I was thinking there is a page break. There's a page break that feels convenient, but it makes for a quite short section from, because we're at 143.
Yeah.
There is like an actual break on the top of 152, so it would be reading like all the way down through 151. I don't know that it makes sense to like defy that page break.
No, let's not defy the page break. I think that's fine. So we can go to the top of 152.
Yeah. So
That's
the
fine.
last line would be, he hoped that no stars fell tonight.
Aw.
Oh.
But those are lucky for you, Dunk. Oh, there's some great
Yeah.
pictures in this section. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, that'll be great.
Well, we will
Thank you all for staying for this very long podcast.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, but just
it'll be
it's
shorter.
Not our fault. It's
It'll
not
be
our
shorter. It will be shorter by the time I post it. Not all of this will make it in.
fault. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
A vast majority will make it in, but some of it won't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
We'll edit it down slightly.
You can cut my Taylor Swift rant if you want. It wasn't necessary for the content
no,
of the
that
actual
part
story.
is staying. That part is staying.
I'm gonna have the fucking folklore Swifties in the comments being like, "You don't know what you're talking about. Have you listened to Mirror Ball?" Like, yes, I have. I don't want.
This is all actually a ploy for us to get the Swifties worked up, because that will generate
the
traction.
engagement. Oh, boom.
Rage
but now
bait.
You said it on the podcast. Now they're gonna know.
Rage bait.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't made it this far. They didn't even read the caption before they left their comment.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
We will.